Gracias por estar aquí. Hoy tenemos bueno, como todos ustedes saben, porque han dado la ruta hasta aquí, hoy teníamos una reunión muy especial porque recibimos a Nondita Correa Mehrotra. Eh, Como muchos de ustedes quizás ya sepan por la presentación, ella dirige la Fundación Charles Correa, basada en Panaji, India, y para nosotros es una ocasión muy especial por múltiples motivos. Yo creo que quizás el primero sea que traiga al presente a la figura de Charles Correa, que creo que es un arquitecto para los que somos un poco mayores, fueron determinantes para nuestra generación, pero quizás incluso aún más para la generación de nuestros profesores, hablo por mí. Y creo que es del tipo de arquitecto que desde el Perú uno solo puede sentir admiración por la familiaridad con los problemas, la familiaridad con la noción de que ni la cultura, ni la diversidad, ni la complejidad cultural, ni las complejidades estructurales o económicas tienden a ser limitantes, sino se pueden leer claramente como condiciones para unas arquitecturas y unos proyectos de ciudad excepcionales. Un segundo punto por el que le agradezco a Nondita haber hecho esta presentación y además propuesto hacerla desde el archivo de Charles Correa es justamente poder sumar y empezar a construir un diálogo que amplía el trabajo que está haciendo la facultad y la universidad a través del archivo de arquitectura que dirige Michel Llona, de alguna forma. Sí, y que justo venimos de visitar, y yo creo que esa es un tipo de compromiso que, como comentábamos abajo, pocas escuelas hacen o pocas escuelas tienen la suerte de tener el apoyo institucional para tener, tener la responsabilidad sobre el material de archivo y también imaginarlo, como está haciendo la propia Michelle, como una plataforma para aprender arquitectura, ¿no? O sea, que aprender arquitectura y hacer arquitectura es un trabajo permanente, como digo, de la cultura en el tiempo. Y yo creo que el trabajo del archivo para eso es fundamental. Entonces, sin nada más, Nondita, te doy la bienvenida, te agradezco. Aprovecho también para dar la bienvenida a Raúl Mehrotra, que ha venido invitado por la maestría MAP y que hoy, como todos saben, yo creo que todavía hay inscripciones abiertas. Empieza un curso que es lunes, martes y miércoles por la noche. Así que bienvenido y muchas gracias por esta visita. Nada, Nondita, muchísimas gracias.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. No, thank you to Dean Paulo Dam and to Professor Jean-Pierre Cruz and the school. Is this on? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. Thank you very much, both of you, and to the school for so graciously inviting me to present our work at the Charles Correa Foundation. I'm grateful for the opportunity to share with you what we are doing there, in how we organize and catalog the archives, but also how we reach out to the public and engage, their interests. So at this point in time, to be able to reflect on the focus of the foundation, the pedagogical approach that we have taken, is a great opportunity for us. So, how we have been curating the archives and for what purpose is fundamental to their raison d'etre. And I saw today the cataloging that is going on here at the school of the archives, which is really remarkable how well documented this is. And but I'd like to share with you today what we consider the archives that we have. Charles Correa was born in 1930 and passed away in 2015 at the age of 84. He studied architecture at the University of Michigan and at MIT, and then came back to India. At the age of 28, he started his own practice. The school has mounted an exhibition right now. I saw it going up just now of some of his work, and I'm happy to walk you through that after the lecture. So you can see some of his projects. We've chosen 13 projects that are important to his oeuvre of work. To begin with, what was unique about what Correa did was that he actually closed down his office in 2011 because he felt by then that he had practiced for several decades and now he wanted to spend time doing other things. He was very involved in, urban issues right through his career, but he had an opportunity to do a big regional plan for the state of Goa. So he started the foundation in Goa to spend more time there. This is an old Portuguese colony, and his family was originally from there, though he had never lived there, but he went there just to start the foundation and to work on this regional plan. I think he felt he could extend his own interests through the foundation, his interests in architecture and urbanization, but without the pressures of practice. So it was a very mindful decision. To describe all that the foundation does, I'd like to start with this drawing, the street elevation of our studio in Fontainhas in Panjim, Goa. We are part of the urban fabric and always have our doors open to visitors, architects, planners, designers, as well as concerned citizens interested in the built and unbuilt environment. I believe that the projects that we work on stem from the archives, illustrate the role a foundation can play, one that complements pedagogy in places like India, perhaps all through the global South, where research and curation could go hand in hand with projects. So to create, but as to put together seemingly disconnected bits to create new relevance. We believe that many of our programs are very important and resonate deeply with the younger architects who are interested, as I said, in the built and unbuilt environment. We see the role of the foundation not only as advocating for a better urban environment, which is important, and we do work with the government on policy questions, but also how we can support the making of culture and architectural practice in the region. Through setting up traditions and cultures of research, cultures of archiving, cultures of for discussion, and how ideas and themes can be talked about and articulated so younger people have clarity in the way they deal with these questions. This is what I'd like to talk about this afternoon. And I just thought I'd show you also a slide of the foundation. It's almost residential in scale. And it's a very small place that we go and work in, but it's something that Charles did the interiors of. He kept the traditional front facade that I just shared, but this is the inside of it. The Royal Institute of British Architects, London, who had given Correa a gold medal in 1984, took all his drawings and models in 2012, and the following year hosted a huge exhibition in London at the Institute's main building. They also brought out a catalog for the occasion. That's over here with the Champalimaud Center on the cover. The RIBA look after his physical archives, and the foundation takes care of the dissemination of his work and makes it accessible to the public. So yet for sort of scholarship, you could start at the foundation, but to actually look at the real drawings, it's still the RIBA that has them. I think like 2 years ago, the Museum of Modern Art in New York had an exhibition of South Asian architecture, and they borrowed the drawings directly from the RIBA. So the physical drawings are there. So when Correa closed his office, he also spent a lot of time and effort trying to find ways of making his archives accessible to the public. He spoke to institutions in both Mumbai and Delhi as he wanted them to stay in India, but was not convinced that the work would be thoroughly organized nor curated. So he made digital copies of the hand-drafted drawings, which you can imagine there were hundreds of them over 6 decades. And as I said, the RIBA took them, and then he scanned his writings, his publications, photographs, and made them digitally accessible to any scholar or student anywhere in the world, because it's really just, it's available through a subscription. And that's how we continue to run it. We keep adding to it. And but I'm saying all this to emphasize that it was a very conscious decision on his part. In a sense, he wanted the foundation to have what many foundations have to do after the person passes away, but Charles did it very sort of proactively. They were organized with him and a team of archivists, and they developed a software that where the archives, as I said, are available on subscription. And very quickly, I'll just walk you through what would be the sequence, just for you to see the kind of stuff that is available digitally. This is the first screen that comes on for you to log in. And then the next one is a timeline which scrolls through all the different projects, and you can click on any one of the projects, and it takes you directly to that project. Or you go through the thing which is like, these would be all the architectural projects, and this is the Champalimaud Center in Lisbon, which is put up on screen. But from that, you get into, when you click on architecture, you get into exhibitions and museums or institutions or housing, workshops, workplaces rather, leisure. And this is the page for the institutional buildings. This is, say, for the housing, and I'll just walk you through the housing. I've just marked the 3 housing projects that are up in the exhibition, so you're familiar with them. That's the Previ housing, Kanchenjunga apartments, and Belapur housing. Because we're here, I thought I'd run through the Previ housing, what we have in our archives. There are some images of the built houses when they were first ready. They're very clear, simple boxes, white boxes. And then this is the competition entry, which was a little different from what got built, because I think when he came here, he got feedback that the walls couldn't be longer than 3 meters without a fold because of the seismic thing. So he had to modify the plans. But it's very much about a street, and that somehow doesn't come through in the way the site plan was finally put together, because they were all straightened, but it was about a kind of a slippage between, to make kind of nodes and sort of internodes kind of thing in the street. These are a few axonometrics of the different typologies. I think there were 6 typologies, and then we have also some of the street perspectives and the model. So the street became was very important in his scheme. We also found this in the archives, which is a meeting of, I think it was their first meeting, the briefing of the 13 international architects. And there's Charles, and you can see Christopher Alexander, Jim Sterling, and I can't really recognize many of the others. So if other people, maybe Freddie remembers some of them, I don't know. Oh, right, yeah. So, and then we went 9 years ago when we were here. We went to visit the Previ as it is today. So we got to see all the different housing types, all the work of, you know, the different architects. But this long street shot is what's happened to Charles's work, which is kind of quite unrecognizable. But I think that's how Previ was meant to be. It was meant to be incremental. And it was actually a good thing that they were so easily added to. But the yellow courtyard and that living room from one of the units, which actually hadn't been modified too much, the facade was also almost the same. So it was kind of nice because going through that and seeing everything, the scale of the spaces, especially the courtyard, the ribbed ceiling, I realized that yes, it was clearly Charles's work. So it was kind of nice to see some of the signature kind of moves. And this is us at the thing, and Jean-Pierre in front of his father's house. So it was really like a very nice kind of moment to go back and visit them. Then I just run very quickly through Kanchenjunga Apartments. So Kanchenjunga, we have photographs and we have many, of course, all the drawings that you usually see in publication, but we have a whole another lot of drawings and it's only now, I think, when everything has got digitized and digitally created perspectives and stuff, that looking at old perspectives which were hand drawn and really set up, does one appreciate them. So lots of these, lots of study models, or and then even things like this, which is in perspective, studying the colors that would be put on. So it wasn't, because it's so three-dimensional, those terraces, they were not done just as flat elevations. They actually were drawn in perspective as to what, and those are all colored tiles that are put on. So here you see the colored tiles in each of those boxes, because it was only under construction that Charles realized that those boxes were so large in scale, the terraces, that they had to be part of the elevation. They could not just be pockets in shadow. So that's the stuff we have. There's again a lot of models. There's over here models of a much earlier iteration of Kanchenjunga. So there's a lot of things of understanding how the project traveled to become what it is today. And similarly, we a few months after Charles passed away, we did an exhibition on his unbuilt works. There were 88 unrealized projects, and which it was much more than we ever thought. He may have known that, but none of us who had worked there knew that. And we categorized them as in lineages of illustrated how through 7 lineages, how ideas were held in this kind of suspended, maybe in time, by an unbuilt project. And sometimes those ideas were picked up again when something else got built, and or sometimes the same project got later built but on a different site or whatever. And so it was interesting just to see how these ideas developed, and we call that buildings as ideas. But there have been several exhibitions. I'll just pull up a few. There's been one at TU Delft, the Technical University of Delft, and they built these models themselves. They're all built at 1:50 scale, which is what TU Delft does. Apparently, if they're doing housing models, they won't do them at any other scale but 1:50, so that they have a way to compare them. And this exhibition then traveled to India after Delft and was shown in Mumbai, in Ahmedabad, Kolkata, and in Panjim. This was an exhibition at the University of Michigan, where Charles had studied as an undergraduate, and they put this exhibition together from material that the foundation had sent. These are some of the publications that we do. We reprint some of Charles's earlier books. We also put together new books and catalogs and stuff of things. We've just reprinted a book on his collection of essays, essays that he had edited and put together. But it's called A Place in the Shade, and it's an anthology of the essays he had written over the years. This publication is not just an insight into his ways of thinking on issues of architecture and urbanism in the context of the third world or the global south, but it's meant for professionals to understand and for them to understand, but really it also reaches out to the general public. So it's written in a very easy way. It's not got a lot of jargon in it, but it's you know, he always wrote with a kind of clarity that this book brings together in a very nice way, I think. So I've brought a copy of the book, which I'm going to give the library. So, you know, I think you could look at it there. But in this edition, we put in this color purple into the inside flaps. And we say that, you know, it's an homage to the color purple. And the significance of it is that in Charles's essay, Great City, Terrible Place, he refers to Doxiadis' slides which have red and blue dots representing people. And Doxiadis said that living in cities often represents the opportunity for red people to be influenced by blue people and to turn them purple. That's what cities are about, turning people purple. And so, as I said, you know, as a publisher, we are committed not just to making the professional read these writings, but also to students and the general public interested in architecture and urbanism. This is another book of his which we have reprinted recently and is available. And this is on housing and urbanization. It was first published in 1999. And so this is the kind of stuff that we have been working on through the actual physical archives of what we have and the digitized versions of what we have. But we also got thinking, you know, really what is an architect's archives? And these are the tangible ones, I think, the drawings, the models, the photographs and writings. But we also tried, you know, we tried to create the context to say, what was happening at the time that these drawings were created, when this building was being designed, say in the 1960s or whatever. So in the exhibitions, we're trying to either through a timeline or whatever, try to show what was also being done at that time. And I think many exhibitions try and do that. But or sometimes even show an earlier iteration, as I was saying. But I think what we started to realize was that it was the intangible archives, which was actually his legacy, his ideas, his thinking, his approach to design that you know, which are relevant today. So there's a difference between what was relevant then and what is relevant today. And when we started to look at what was relevant today, we realized that there was this very large area that we could work within. And I think that's really where, for us as the foundation, we've been able to evolve and get into other sort of spheres which we wouldn't have done otherwise. This is a conference that we held the year after he passed away. Jean-Pierre, oh no, sorry, this was but this is the one thing. This is the there's a poster of the list of all the architects. It was a really nice, wonderful conference, and in one of Charles's buildings in Goa. And here you see Jean-Pierre giving the first memorial lecture, you know, at the event, and it was really wonderful to have him there, and Sandra, and then 2 years later, it's a biennial conference, so it's every second year we do it, and there's one coming up in 2024. It's every even year. This is on designing equitable cities in a bid to reach design professionals and to discuss the importance of equitability in our urban areas, something Charles felt was very crucial to society. We looked at it from many vantage points: equitability within the legal framework, issues of housing cooperatives, public transportation, the equitability of gender, the necessity for women to feel comfortable in public space. We did another one we did in 2020, the year of the pandemic. And here, when everyone was trapped in their own neighborhoods, we did this conference, You in Your Neighborhood, which is actually the thesis of Charles's master's thesis at MIT. It's the title, sorry, of his thesis at MIT, which was an animated film. But using the rubric of looking at urban space at 4 different scales is how we structured the this conference, and we had to do it online, and we did one every week, and it was a kind of like a recurring thing. It was really, I mean, extremely well attended, and we suddenly realized that we had an audience in Asia and stuff, but also in the Americas, in Europe, in Africa. These are issues that are really quite global, and definitely the global South is interested in many of these issues. Then 2 years ago, we did this one on Form Follows Climate, which is again a title of an essay that Charles wrote as a provocation to architects in the early 70s, sort of part of the, just the energy crisis. And he was saying that architects really need to design the actual form of the building responding to climate, and to do things that are ecologically sensitive. We continue to give a gold medal in his name. He started this in 1998 when he was celebrating 40 years of the practice, and he felt that it was important to give a medal which actually was for the best undergraduate thesis. So right across the country, we have lots of people sending in, students sending in their work, but it's from the school, so it's a 2-stage selection. Each school is allowed to send 1 student's thesis work, and then we have a jury of 5 architects who select the gold medalists and 2 honorable mentions. But what is important in this is that we then set up an archive of all the entries, and we have located them by site and we've listed them by typology. So other students who are doing their thesis projects can now look that up. So that's another kind of archive that we've set up on our website, which gives the students, this opportunity. We do other things, which this is from this is actually Charles's competition entry for low-income housing from 1961, when the brief called for low-cost housing with walk-ups. Charles developed this design, which was what he called the tube house, which was actually a row house with cross ventilation. And he showed how the spaces could be used during the day and at night. And Jane Drew, an English architect who was working with Corbusier and Jeanneret on Chandigarh, on the housing in Chandigarh, was on the jury and gave the scheme the first prize, as it achieved the same densities as what was called for in the brief, but also gave each family their own land. And the cross ventilation right right through, but also going up and coming through this kind of funnel in the hot, dry climate of Ahmedabad was a really interesting idea, but it really comes from this section where he is looking at that and baffles and this is as a cluster, and that's an individual house that was built. And so we use that housing typology to run a short workshop that we had where we had 24 architects come in, and they and what we did was actually with white tape marked the full scale the house on the street outside the office, just for them to understand the scale of it. The house itself is 3.6 meters by 16 meters long. And so there are many issues in urbanization and architecture that we have looked at. There's again always using Charles's interests in cities. This image is what Mumbai today looks like, and it's often what people are responding to as architects and planners looking to improve this as the built environment. But I think Charles's interest was also in the little streets and what people how the city was treating them, what was available to them, and in that sense, I think that the whole sense of equitability for the city was really, one can't forget the people in this little street. And so we started to make and commission really 7-minute films on cities, and this is just on urban issues in India, on urban India, and we call them Nagari. And Nagar means urban, and so that's the theme. And we've every year looked at different themes. We've looked at housing, livelihoods, water, the urban commons, and this year it's on mobility. And what we do is, since we changed the focus from year to year, we ask young filmmakers to submit outlines. Then we have a panel of mentors who are very good documentary filmmakers who mentor these young filmmakers. And so we get very interesting films that we're really quite proud of. And we have them on YouTube. We have 30,000 subscribers because they're really, we think, important issues to look at. The thing is that the reason we called it Nagari and just looking at urban issues and not necessarily the big cities, because these mega cities, of which India has 6 of them, they tend to sort of sap all the oxygen in the room when you're talking about urban areas because they are so problematic. But we thought it's really the small cities that need to be looked at as well and identify inherent issues in this. And so, but what is like the magnitude of these urban areas? And as I said, there's 6 mega cities, which are the ones you most probably have heard of, which are Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, Chennai, Kolkata, and Hyderabad. But then there's 65 cities with a population of 1 million. And then there are over 500 cities with a population of 100,000 people. And that is today's numbers. This is not projection. This is what we have to deal with in India today. Going to the Nagari films, which are also in a way an archive, a collection, what we call a bioscope. And these were these old bioscopes that used to be in India, and I think are still through South Asia. I don't know if they're here, but you could put your head up to one of those little portholes and be able to see short films in that. They were usually song and dance kind of things, which were very popular, but we felt that this was a kind of a bioscope, our bioscope into the city. And so I'm just going to very quickly show you 4 of these films. They're 7 minutes each. And this one is called Beyond Four Walls. And this was the first set we did, which was about housing adequacy, sort of housing, not just low-income housing, but making sure that housing is located in a space that would also have public transportation and stuff. And that doesn't always happen, as you know. Very often, low-income housing is pushed to the extremes of the city. And so this is the story of a woman who works in Paris Corner. She sells flowers, and then she's moved out, and what her life has been like. All these films are in local languages and then have subtitles. Then there's Tal Betal, which was from the next year, which is about livelihoods. This film looks at and at the past and what has happened to people who were cultivating things that are growing in the lake, and then the lake gets polluted and the fish are dying, and they can't nothing can grow in there. Then comes Pipe Dream, which is about water connections and this is in Mumbai. There's a person called Jaimati who is a resident of one of these informal settlements, and he works through this whole thing of getting everyone's papers and to show that they have, they've been renting in this settlement for some years. He's got now 1,000 people connected, so that is, I think, about 300-400 people living and families living there. And he pushes to get all this documented and getting a legal connection. The legal connection, water connection, also gives you the right to vote in that area. So right now, that's really important, because otherwise people are still registered in their village and can't vote on urban issues, though they may have lived in a city all their lives. And then the last film is called The Flow of Time, and it's about a large garbage dump, and how it's it's really quite terrifying to see. This is in Delhi. This is not in the outskirts. It's right on. It's right by the river in Delhi, and oh, sorry. This Flow of Time is a film about Bangalore, and it's about the lake being filled up, and the new housing associations that are around the thing, they want to beautify the lake, and they think that means a jogging track and cleaning up the lake and stuff. And yet there are people who have lived around the lake using the water for agriculture, and they realize that they are not part of the equation at all, and they've been pushed aside, and they are wondering what they're going to do. Is agriculture something that they can actually do any more, or there's going to be not enough water to do that? So yeah, so that's the 4 films, and I'll just very quickly connect those films. Oh, that's the audio?
Yeah. And you can plug it back in
Yeah.
for the video.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work, just call me and I'll be ready.
Okay. Thank you. No, I had unplugged it. Oh, God. Why it's doing this jumping? It won't connect. I'm going to just try. The thing has just crashed, I think. Yeah. I plugged it in, but it's just, she's pushed everything all around the screen, and my cursor won't come back.
No.
It's just move. Yeah, so there's the film, but it won't.
But it's not
showing.
with the screen.
Yeah, it's here on the side.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, it just become like a second screen. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
It's
So it thinks the cable is connecting to a monitor.
Yeah,
So it's moving. Yeah, but it's showing up here, but not big enough. So we can say allow. Great.
The sound is on?
The sound should be on, yes, but it's not coming.
Maybe we can just slowly
பார்க்கணும் பஸ் வருதா இல்லையான்னு பார்த்து அதுங்களை வச்சுன்னு தான் காப்பாற்றணும் ஒரு பயம்தான் இருக்குது நாங்கள் அப்போ தான் வாழ்ந்துட்டோமே அது எங்களுக்கு தெரியாது.
I can't reach this.
6 வருஷத்தில் வந்து எல்லா மாற்றமும் வருஷம் இல்லைப்பா 6 வருஷம் 6ஆம் மாதம் 22ஆம் தேதி நம்ம டோட்டலாக ஏற வைக்கணும். நாங்கள் பாரிஸ்லேயே இருந்தோம் ரொம்ப நல்லா வசதியாக இருந்தோம் நாங்கள் இங்கே வாயிறதோட அங்கே வாயிறது தான் எங்களுக்கு நல்ல வாழ்க்கை எங்களோட வாழ்க்கையே வேஸ்ட்டாக போச்சு இந்த இடத்துல வந்து போகிறதுக்கு வர்றதுக்கு 2 மணி நேரம் 2 மணி நேரம் ஆகிடுது 2 மணி நேரத்தில் நாங்கள் அது இப்போ போய் என்ன சம்பாதிக்கிறது இங்கே வந்து சோறாக்கி துண்டுற கூட நேரம் இல்லை எங்களுக்கு 200-300 சம்பாதிக்கிறது பஸ்ஸுக்கே போயிடுது அதை நாங்கள் வச்சு என்னத்தை நாங்கள் வீடு குடும்பம் நடத்தின்னு வர்றது பிள்ளைங்களுக்கு என்ன செலவு பண்ணுறது ஒன்று ஒரு நாளைக்கு எங்களுக்கு கொடுத்துக்கிட்டு இருந்தாங்க தண்ணி வசதி வந்து அதுக்கப்புறம் 2 நாள் பொறுத்து வந்தது அதுக்கப்புறம் 3 நாள் ஒரு வாட்டி தண்ணி வந்தது அதுக்கப்புறம் இப்போ வர்றது வந்து 10 நாளைக்கு ஒரு வாட்டி இல்லை ஒரு வாரத்துக்கு ஒரு வாட்டி நம்ம ஒரு நாளைக்கு ஒரே ஒரு நாள் தான் விட்றாங்க தண்ணி அந்த மாதிரி விட்டால் நாங்கள் பிள்ளைங்கள குளிப்பாடுறதா இல்லை இருக்கிறக்கு நாங்கள் குளிக்கிறதா இல்லை இப்போ சாப்பாடு யூஸ் பண்ணுறதா இல்லை துணிமணியை சுத்தம் பண்ணுறதா இவ்வளோலாம் வசதி இங்கே இல்லை காவு அடுப்பு ரொம்ப கிளச்சி இது வேறு பிள்ளைங்களுக்கு அடிக்கடிக்கு உடம்பு சரியில்லாத விழுது ஒரே ஒரு அம்மா ஹாஸ்பிட்டல் தான் இருக்குது அர்ஜென்ட்டுக்குன்னு போனாங்க பார்க்க மாட்டாங்க மித்ததெல்லாம் பணம் கட்டி தான் வெளியே பார்க்கணும் ஆனால் கவர்மெண்ட் ஹாஸ்பிட்டல்லாம் கட்டல அந்த இடத்துல ஆனால் எவ்வளோ உயிர் தான் சாதாரணம் அந்த இடத்துல அங்கே எதனா ஒன்று ஆச்சுன்னா ஜிஹெச் எரிஞ்சதுக்கு வந்து கேஎம்ஸு அப்படி இல்லையா ஸ்டாலின் தான் வரும் இப்போ 25 கிலோமீட்டர்லேருந்து வரணும் அந்த உயிருக்கு என்ன கேரண்டி பையன் மாரி தானே கொஞ்ச நேரம் அதை அங்கேருந்து தூக்கின்னு வந்து கேஎம்சியில் சாங்காட்டி அப்படியே இருந்துச்சு அங்கேருந்து தூக்கின்னு 25 கிலோமீட்டர்லேருந்து தூக்கின்னு வர்றதுக்கு அரை ஹவரில் போகுதுன்னா அது நம்மளோட மனசு நம்ம பெற்று அதை வளர்த்து எவ்வளோ கஷ்டப்பட்டு இருக்கு இப்போ திடீர்னு அவருக்கு வீடு இடம்ன்றாங்க இந்த இடத்த மாற்றி செங்கல்பட்டு லைனில் கொடுக்குறான்றாங்க நாங்கள் இங்கேருந்து போகிறதுக்கே இவ்வளோ சிரமப்படுறோம் இன்னும் அந்த செங்கல்பட்டு லைனில் போனால் எங்களுக்கு எவ்வளோ சிரமம் இருக்கும். அங்கேருந்து போயிட்டு வரோம், எப்படி போகிறதுக்கு வர்றதுக்கே லைஃபே போயிடுமா. பிறந்தது வளர்ந்ததே இந்த இடம் தான், எங்களுக்கு சம்பாரணை கொடுக்குறதே இந்த இடம் தான், நாங்கள் போய்க்கிறதும் இந்த இடம் தான். இந்த இடத்த விட்டு நாங்கள் ஓகே.
मेरा नाम छोटेलाल सिंगरा है और मछुआ सहकारी समिति का मैं सचिव हूँ। पहले सिंघाड़ा और मछली का व्यवसाय था, अब सिंघाड़ा का रहा नहीं, कुछ जगह पर है। अब मछली पालन बस रहता है अपने यहाँ गंगा सागर सूपा ताल में।
ये परिवार ये काम लगभग कितने वर्षों से कर रहा होगा?
ये लगभग 100-150 सालों से हमारा परिवार काम कर रहा था इस, जैसे कि मैं खुद अभी 35 साल से कर रहा हूँ।
काम होते थे, एक सिंघाड़ा होता था, वो कम से कम हम लोग के 2 महीने 3 महीने का कवर कर देती थी। उस समय पीरियड में हम लोग मछली मारना बंद कर देती थी। सिंघाड़ा जो होता है साफ सुथरा जगह होता है, पानी स्वच्छ होना चाहिए वहाँ होती। पानी अगर गंदी जगह में लगाएंगे तो सिंघाड़ी होता ही नहीं, गल जाती है, सड़ जाती है।
उससे नुकसान होने लगा तो हम लोगों ने सिंघाड़ा बंद कर दिया। सिंघाड़ा बंद करके मछली पालन किया तो उस समय नाले तो मिले नहीं गए। अब जैसे दिन बीतते गए नाले शासन ने पूरे जोड़ दिए हैं तो फिर परेशानी हम लोग।
अभी आपको हम यहीं से दिखाएं, ये कम्प्लेक्स बना हुआ है, नगर निगम ने बनाया है सामने, उसका पूरा पानी तालाब के अंदर कर दिया। पूरा पहाड़ का पानी जितने टैंक वैंक बने हैं घर में घरेलू, पूरा गंदा पानी एक तालाब में गिरा दिया। आइट साइड में जितने टैंक बने हैं बस्ती के किनारे किनारे सब पाइप डाल के सब तालाब में गिरा दिए। एक समय वो होता तो गर्मी में हम लोग को बहुत मुश्किल से संभालना होता तालाब। कई बार ऐसे हादसा हो चुके कि ऑक्सीजन की कमी होने के कारण पूरा गंदा पानी, जब इकट्ठा हो जाता है तो गंदगी ज़्यादा दिखाई देती है, इसके कारण सारी मछली मर जाती। शासन से कुछ मदद मांगो तो शासन ने आज तक भी 1 रुपये नहीं किया।
अरे हम लोगों को खुजली हो जाती है, फोड़े पड़ जाते हैं वो पानी घुसते हुए, मगर हम लोग कैसा भी दवाइयाँ लगा लो के
हम लोग
तेले लगा के खेलते
पानी में काम करेगा तो बीमार हो जाए।
ज़्यादा भी 5 किलो में डाल दो, 5 किलो।
शहर के तालाब में क्या है, तालाब सूखते नहीं है। तालाब सूखने ना कारण जो है चारों तरफ से जो बस्तियां बसी हैं, कॉलोनी बसी, उनका पानी निरंतर आता रहता है और जो ज़मीन सूखती थी उससे कड़ापन आता था, तो वो अच्छे तरीके से सिंघाड़ा होता रहा। अब स्थिति ये है कि सिंघाड़ा लगाते हैं, बौला नीचे से गल जाती है, तो सिंघाड़ा मतलब होता नहीं। इसीलिए हमें दूर दराज जाके करना पड़ता है। अब हमें दूर ही यहाँ पर आए हैं, उगे हैं 35 किलोमीटर 40 किलोमीटर दूर आके हमें धंधा करना पड़ रहा है। तो इस वजह से अब हम लोग को मजबूरी है कि बाहर जाके हमें व्यवसाय करना पड़ता है, क्योंकि हमें और कोई बिजनेस आता नहीं है।
मेरा नाम नीतीश सिंह रहा है और मैं एमएससी बॉटनी साइंस कॉलेज जबलपुर का स्टूडेंट हूँ। अभी तो जहाँ तक की बात की जाए तो हमें शहर से गांव की तरफ, गांव में हम लोग सिंघाड़ा लगाते हैं। हमारे अभी जो भी परिवार हैं, कुछ लोग लगाते हैं, वो गांव में ही जाकर लगाते हैं। शहर में वैसा इन्वायरमेंट नहीं मिला है हमें जिससे हम इस खेती को आगे बढ़ा सकें। अगर सिंघाड़े की खेती की बात की जाए तो मुझे नहीं लगता कि हम इस तरीके से शहर के विकास में कोई भी अपना योगदान दे पाएंगे, क्योंकि हमें नहीं लगता कि सिंघाड़ा हमें आगे बढ़ाने में कुछ कार्य प्रदान करेगा। सिंघाड़े की खेती में कुछ भी नहीं बचा है जिससे मैं अपना परिवार या अपने परिवार का पालन कर सकूं। मुझे या तो मजदूरी करना पसंद है, पर सिंघाड़े की खेती करना बिल्कुल भी ना पसंद है।
इलीजा अंसारी भगत मातो ये हो गया राम सिपन्ना।
ठीक है, और कहीं रखा होगा इसका।
आपने वो नाम निकालने के लिए कहीं तो रखा होगा।
ठीक है, ये फाइल है ना, ये इधर रखो ऊपर, सुबह ले जाने वाला है।
ये बता सकते हैं आपके पास कितने लोगों का रिकॉर्ड है?
टोटल है 59 का है टोटल।
59 into 5। 59 कनेक्शन का है, एक कनेक्शन में 5 या 6 लोग हैं, तो अराउंड 300 के आसपास तो जा रहा है।
ये फाइलों का इम्पोर्टेंट, ये तो जीवन है, मतलब हमारा पूरा सब कुछ इसी के ऊपर निर्भर है। अगर इसको कुछ नुकसान हुआ तो पूरा बस्ती को बहुत बड़ा नुकसान है। फिर से वो आरटीआई बनाना पड़ेगा, फिर से सरकारी रिकॉर्ड निकालना पड़ेगा। अब ये घूम गया तो सीधा बीएमसी में, अगर बीएमसी में भी कुछ फाइल घूमता तो वो हमको बोलते हैं कि आपके पास वो फाइल है तो हमें दे दीजिए ताकि हम उसका रिकॉर्ड फिर से बनाएं। ऐसा होता है। इसमें भी ने कंप्यूटर में भी सेव करके रखा है उस चीज़ों को। रात को जब 2-3 बजे नींद टूट जाती है तो फिर मैं सोता नहीं हूँ, कहीं गहरी नींद ना लग जाए, ताकि सुबह आप ज़्यादा देर सो जाएंगे तो फिर पीने का पानी नहीं रहेगा तो दिन भर कैसे चलेगा। हेलो।
हेलो
जी
हाँ, मैं बीएमसी वाटर डिपार्टमेंट से बोल रही हूँ।
जी जी जी
हाँ, ये आपके जो फाइल्स थे ना पेंडिंग,
जी
उसको प्रोसेस करना था, तो जो डॉक्यूमेंट्स वगैरह मिसिंग है मैं आपको इन्फॉर्म करती हूँ। आप जरा ऑफिस में आ सकते हो क्या?
जी 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 जी।
तो हाँ, आप कब आओगे?
3 बजे आऊँ?
ओके, यस। जो भी मिसिंग डॉक्यूमेंट्स है मैं आपको ऐसे बताती हूँ, आप लेके आइए।
जी जी।
गावाच्या जातीनं घर सोडली, शहरी येऊन वस्ती बसवली, शहरी येऊन वस्ती बसवली, शहरी येऊन वस्ती बसवली. सडका नाल्यानं घर बांधली, कचारपट्टीची जिंदगी झाली, पाण्याची कहाणी ऐका हो सरकार, आमच्या पाण्याची कहाणी ऐका हो सरकार. अरे सत्तेच्या हातात पाण्याची टाकी, माणसं बघून पाणी कती, माणसं बघून पाणी कती, माणसं बघून पाणी कती. गोरगरिबाची हल्ले पेटती, बेघर म्हणून हाकलून लाविती, पाण्याची कहाणी ऐका हो सरकार, आमच्या पाण्याची कहाणी ऐका हो सरकार. अरे इथं लढाई संपत नाही, माणसाला पाणी का मिळत नाही, माणसाला पाणी का मिळत नाही, माणसाला पाणी का मिळत नाही. जोवर आम्हा पाणी मिळत नाही, आकडचा माणूस लढत राही, जोवर आम्हा पाणी मिळत नाही, आकडचा माणूस लढत राही. पाण्याची कहाणी ऐका हो सरकार, आमच्या पाण्याची कहाणी ऐका हो सरकार.
जो जीवन हम जी रहे हैं उसमें एक मतलब नर्क जैसे ज़िंदगी जी रहे हैं। लाइट नहीं, पानी नहीं, शौचालय नहीं, शिक्षा नहीं, और शिक्षित है तो भी वो जल्दी से उस नर्क से बाहर भाग जाना चाहता है। ये हमारी मम्मी है कहाँ है? गाँव में है। लक्ष्मी दिलीप भट्ट, सोम प्रकाश टाक, कल जो है उनका वोटिंग कार्ड और पैन कार्ड, बीएमसी के लोग आएंगे, नल के लिए कनेक्शन के लिए भरा है ना, वो चेक करने के लिए घर और डॉक्यूमेंट दोनों चेक करने के लिए आएंगे। इधर का अपना लोग का ये फाइल खत्म होने के बाद आपका आएगा। कल सुबह 10 बजे से 12 बजे तक घर में ही रहना। एक एक डॉक्यूमेंट निकालने के लिए 6-6 महीना गया, कभी कोई साल भर भी लग गया एक कागज़ निकालने के लिए। जब भी मैं कोई भी चीज़ के लिए, लाइट के लिए हो या पानी के लिए हो, या अगर एक पेपर भी मुझे मिलता था मैं बहुत खुशी महसूस करता था। मैं ये समझता था कि बीएमसी का या गवर्नमेंट का एक जवाब तो मेरे पास आया, मतलब एक डॉक्यूमेंट तो आया बस्ती के लिए, भले वो अच्छी हो या बुरी हो, वो मेरे लिए मायने नहीं रखता। मायने ये रखता था कि मैंने पाया कुछ।
हेलो,
नमस्ते, मैं जयमती बोल रहा हूँ। वही कल आया था, आपका मुलाकात नहीं हुई, ऑफिस में कोई भी मिला नहीं, तो मैं बोला पूछ
मैं
लेता हूँ।
ट्रेनिंग में थी अभी, बोलिए।
जी जी, तो वही बोल रहा था पी फॉर्म का और इसका लाइन का क्या हो गया है।
आप अभी आपका वो लिस्ट लेके आइए ना पी फॉर्म का।
जी
पर
जी,
वो टैली करते हैं, ठीक है।
तो हर वक्त मतलब तलवार जो है हमारे गर्दन पे लटकी हुई रहती है, कभी टूट जाएगा।
में डेमोलेशन होता है।
हाँ, कब टूट जाएगा, कब टूट जाएगा, अभी क्या होगा, कहाँ जाएंगे, कैसे रहेंगे, ये सब दिमाग में चलते रहता है। फिर जो भी हमारे ऊपर पुलिस का दबाव आए या बीएमसी का दबाव आए, ऑफिसर का दबाव आए, तो हमको ऐसा लगता है कि ये सब कॉमन हो गया।
हम लोग ने बीच में अभी किया था, तभी हम लोग ने पाइप का एक कनेक्शन तोड़ने का प्लानिंग हो गया था, पर उन्होंने एग्री हो गए थे कि हम लोग 15 दिन में आपको कनेक्शन लगा के देंगे। तो जब तक उनको झटका नहीं कर लगता है तब तक वो कुर्सी से हिलते नहीं।
ये जयमती जी का तरीका अलग है।
वो शांत है, मैं शांत हूँ, क्योंकि इतने सालों से हम संघर्ष करते आ रहे हैं। हम कोई चोरी से तो नहीं मांग रहे, अगर चोरी का बोला तो तुरंत दे देगा वो कनेक्शन। यहाँ पे लाइट चोरी की बोला तो तुरंत उन्होंने दे दिया, और हम लीगल प्रोसीजर पे जाते तो हमको नहीं दे रहा।
जी, मैं जयमती बोल रहा हूँ। कोई हामी पत्र भेजे नहीं आपने?
अरे हाँ, वो रह गया एक्चुअली, वो मंजूर नहीं था ना। अब एक काम करो कि ऑफिस में से लोगे, अभी मैं जरा 2 दिन छुट्टी पे हूँ।
ठीक है, तो लोग जो है इतने सालों से पानी के लिए तकलीफ झेल रहे हैं, मेरे पीछे हंसते हैं, क्या है पेपर जमा कर रहे हैं, कुछ होता तो है नहीं, और बहुत लोग जो है इस पानी के लिए बहुत कीमत चुकाने के भी तैयार है, लेकिन मैं जानता हूँ पानी सिर्फ पेपर वर्किंग से ही आएगा। यही चीज़ हमको समझ में आया कि रास्ता है, नहीं है ऐसा नहीं, उजाला है, लेकिन ढूंढने वाला चाहिए, उसमें रुके रहने वाला चाहिए।
ಈ ಊರಲ್ಲೇ ಹುಟ್ಟಿರೋದು, ಬೆಳೆದಿರೋದು, ಸ್ವಂತ ಊರು ಇದೇನೆ. ಕಾಡು ಮರಗಳು ಗಿಡಗಳು ಆ ಥರ ಇತ್ತು. ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ತೋಟಗಳೇ ಇದ್ದಿದ್ದು, ಮನೆಗಳೊಂದೇ ಇದ್ದಿದ್ದು. ನಾವು ಎಲ್ಲ ನಾವು ಒಂಟಾಗಿ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಭಯ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು.
ಮುಂಚೆ ಕೆರೆ ಹೆಂಗಿತ್ತು ಅಕ್ಕ?
ಕೆರೆ ಅನ್ಪ ಆ ಕಡೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಗೆಡ್ಡೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಗಂಟ ಬಂದು ನಿಂತ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು ನೀರು. ಎಲ್ಲ ತೋಟಕ್ಕೆಲ್ಲ ಜಲ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳೋದು. ರಾಗಿ ಬೆಳೀತಾ ಇದ್ರು, ಭತ್ತ ಬೆಳೀತಾ ಇದ್ರು, ಎಲ್ಲ ಬೆಳೀತಾ ಇದ್ರು. ಮುಂಚೆ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಅರಿವೆ ಸೊಪ್ಪು, ಆಲೂಗಡ್ಡೆ, ಕ್ಯಾರೆಟ್, ನೌಕೋಲು, ಬೀಟ್ರೂಟು, ಅವಾಗೆಲ್ಲ ಎಮ್ಮೆ ಹಸುಗಳದ್ದು ಗೊಬ್ಬರ. ಇವಾಗ ನಮಗೂ ಮೆಡಿಷನ್, ಇದಕ್ಕೂ ಮೆಡಿಷನ್. ಮುಂಚೆಲ್ಲ ಈ ಥರ ಮನೆಗಳು ಕೊಳಾಯಿಗಳು ಅದು ಇದು ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಎಲ್ಲ ಕೆರೆಗೆ ಎತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು. ಬಟ್ಟೆಗಳು ಒಗೆಯೋದು, ಸ್ನಾನಗಳು ಮಾಡೋದು, ಈಜುಗಳು ಹೊಡೆಯೋದು ಮಕ್ಕಳು. ನಮ್ದೇನು ಕೊರತೆ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅವಾಗ. ಕೆರೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಮೀನು ತುಂಬಾ ಹಿಡಿತಾ ಇದ್ರು ಮೇಡಮ್. ಏನೇನೋ ಮೀನುಗಳು, ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಬರಲ್ಲ ಹೆಸರುಗಳು. ತುಂಬಾ ಮೀನುಗಳಿತ್ತು. ಮುಂಚೆ ಸೇಂಬಾರ್ ನೀರುಗಳೆಲ್ಲ ಕೆರೆಗೆ ಬಿಟ್ಬಿಟ್ರು. ಆಗ ಮೀನುಗಳೆಲ್ಲ ತುಂಬಾ ಸತ್ತೋಯ್ತು. ಎಲ್ಲ ಸುತ್ತೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಎಲ್ಲ ಎತ್ತಿ ಎತ್ತಿ ಬಿಸಾಕ್ತು. ಅವಾಗ ಜಮೀನುಗಳು ಇತ್ತು, ಯಾರು ಮಾಡಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ದೇವರು ಎಲ್ಲ ಇದು ಪ್ರಪಂಚನೇ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡವ್ರು. ಇವಾಗ ಏನು ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. ಒಂದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ದಿವಸನೇ ಮೇಡಮ್ ಇದು ಇರಲ್ಲ, ಮನೆಗಳಾಗ್ಬಿಡ್ತೈತೆ, ಯಾವುದು ಇರಲ್ಲ. ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ನೋಡ್ಸಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಇನ್ನೂ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ದಿವಸ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ಓಡಾಡೋಕ್ಕೂ ಜಾಗ ಸಿಗ್ತೈತೆ ಇಲ್ವೋ ನಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ಆ ಥರ ಪರಿಸ್ಥಿತಿ ಐತಿ. ಇಲ್ಲಿನ ಸ್ವಂತ ಇರ್ಕಲ್ಲ.
I think it was kind of moment of realization for us when we came here in April 2013, then realized that it's already drying up. We always came to the lake, but we didn't really track the deterioration, or we didn't really see it from an angle of taking care. There are a lot of builders in and around the area. They were all drawing water from the lake during the night for their construction works, which was an eye-opener for us, which propelled us to form a citizens group. We didn't know what is meaning of caring of a lake. We didn't know who is encroaching it, where is the encroachment. During May 2013, we did something called as a Save Begur Lake campaign. We did a human chain. There were participation of more than 600 people during this event. And we also got hold of a survey map, which was done by BBN to understand the encroachment at different parts. One of the unique plans that they could do here, diversion of the sewage, which was our greatest concern. So this is something that we had highlighted to the authorities. There were plans for connecting the temple's place to the lake, so that people coming to the temple, they have some kind of direct engagement with the lake straight away. There are other things like the walking path on the periphery of the lake. There are about 3 islands which are built. And these islands are really helpful in developing the flora and fauna. You will see a very thriving ecosystem of animals and plants and everything.
ಪಾರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಜಾಗ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ ಮೇಡಮ್? ಈ ಕಡೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಗೇಟ್ ಇಕ್ತಾರೆ ಈ ವಾಕಿಂಗ್ ಹೋಗೋರಿಗೆ. ನಾವು ಅದ್ರೊಳಗಡೆ ಬರಂಗಿಲ್ಲ.
So this is a lake which is still under development. It's something which is still not handed over or about to be handed over to the proper state.
ಅದೇ ನಮ್ಮ ತೋಟ ಕಡೆ ಏನನ್ನ ನಾವು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಓಡಾಡ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ, ವಾಕಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ, ಆವಾಗ ಏನಾನ ಅಂಗಡಿ ಹಣ್ಣು, ಈ ಕಾಫಿ ಟೀ ಅಂಥದ್ದು ಏನಾನ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ವ್ಯಾಪಾರ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಬೋಂಡ ವಡೆ ಆ ಥರ ಮಾಡೋಣ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವೋ ಬಿಡ್ತೀವೋ ನಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ಆ ಥರ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ.
That's yeah, sure.
Nondita, as you know, I knew your father briefly, but I admired him all through my training as an architect. I think he's one of the few people that decently faced the commissions that we were supposed to encounter in our time wholeheartedly. The few times I met him, he was always very interested in what happened with Previ. and he always wanted to come back and see whatever had happened with this project. I wanted to ask you one question. For someone who was so devoted to a profession which takes up most of your emotional life, did he feel at the end, the last time I saw him in his house, and he was preparing that exhibition for the RIBA. I did not dare ask him the question, because I thought it was rather cheeky on my part to ask him at that stage. But I would ask it to you. Throughout his life, someone who dedicated most of his professional abilities to try and help out people in scarcity, people who lived really with difficulty, and having designed, having built, having written so much about housing, especially housing for the poor, especially housing in natural conditions that would really meet the conditions, the difficult conditions of architectural creation. Do you think that he finally, when he reached his old age, before he went, he felt he had achieved something? Did he go? Because I ask you this because it's also a major question for me. I think we've all fought for decades trying to reach some way of producing in our time what architecture is supposed to produce, quality of life for the most. He thought of that all his life. My question is, do you think he finally thought he achieved something?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think I think he's the kind of person who never gave up. So I don't think time ran out on him. He was still, even when he was diagnosed with cancer and stuff, he was still trying to get things done. I mean, he wasn't going to sit back at all. So I think he felt he needed to keep producing stuff. But he didn't want to start a new building. That's why he closed his office. He didn't want to start a new project. He said, I don't know who will finish it then and how it will be finished and stuff. And so but he continued to like his energy to get things accomplished. Whether he was satisfied with what he had got, I think there were some things like New Bombay, I think Navi Mumbai didn't turn out exactly how he had hoped it would. Not even exactly, I don't know if it turned out anywhere close to what he was thinking of. I think he was happier perhaps with Belapur housing, which is in the exhibition here, which was incremental housing and stuff. And he quite liked the fact that it had transformed so much. He felt that was a success. There are things like that. Of course, he was very proud of some buildings and others not so much. But I think in the urbanization stuff, he was disappointed that much of his ideas did not carry through. And no, that's an important question, because I think, yes, that was where, in fact, in the unbuilt work, when we did that exhibition, I was surprised at how many projects were about urban issues and urban schemes, design schemes to solve problems within cities, mainly the city of Mumbai, were not implemented. And that was a big frustration for him, I think. But otherwise, I think in architecture, you have much more control of things than in urbanization, like urban plans and stuff. That never goes according to how I think you envision it. So that was a problem. But yeah. Any other? No. Okay. I can go upstairs if anyone wants to join us to just go look at the exhibition for a little while. And
Sí, los que estén interesados, vamos al puente donde se ha montado, donde la fundación ha montado una exposición junto con la GEM. ¿Sí?
yeah, okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.